go mechanize that.
Yes. And think about that, what you just said about the athletes. So they took this a super athletes that nobody can connect to emotionally because they are up here and we're down here, right? So we can't on an emotional level connect to them because we know we can never get to their level, right? So they just went for the athletes. And I said, skip that, go after the technology because that everybody can connect to the technology. Everybody can feel there's a relevance of that technology in my life, whether I'm fishing, surfing, skiing, whatever it is, right?
Sure.
So then I went to QVC, and QVC works with all these different famous celebrities like Martha Stewart, Naomi Watts, Kate Hudson, all these people, again, unreachable celebrities, right? And they did this campaign and they had zero, actually, they had to score zero in customer thinking of QVC as their first choice of retailer. So I said, all right, let's skip all the celebrities and let's do an ad campaign for a quarter where we utilize the customer as our model. Just like, you remember how Dove did this Real Beauty way back? I
Of
stole
course.
that idea basically and said, like, let's do it. We went from 0 to 10% in customer choosing QVC as their
Huge.
first choice of retailer in 3 months. But then the reorg happened and out I went.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like when you're disconnected to your audience, you think you need to go higher and higher. But where you actually need to go, you need to drop the credit and go back down to who's actually shopping my stuff.
It's fascinating, and it ties back to something that you and I grew up on, pushing brand.com sites and creating experiential stuff on brand.com sites. And it's interesting. Back in the day, the brand.com site was, in many cases, the cash register. It was always part temple of the brand, but it was a pretty meaningful cash register.
Yeah,
Today, I think it's become less so. What it's become, in the day of, now the days of Amazon and Walmart.com and Target and so on, all the marketplaces. Talk a little bit, if you would, about the value of a brand.com site, through the lens of, hey, that's going to be sort of an elevator stop on the customer's journey. She may or may not buy there. She's very likely not to buy there at this point because
no,
she trusts Amazon. Things going to show up at her house tomorrow or the next day, best price and whatever. But basically, that brand.com site is still relevant, but it's serving a very, very sort of different touch point on the journey.
completely. Yep. Because that's where, if you think about it now, transactions are moved to Amazon.com because I can get the stuff tomorrow, which the brand site never can deliver that fast because they don't have that operational excellence like Amazon does. So forget it. It's the home for storytelling. It's where I would go from social media. So the short snippet of 30 seconds that you tell a customer about something there is where you take me to brand.com, and that's where you tell the full story. And that's where you build the stories around your brand to make yourself relevant. And then you push them off to Amazon to shop. Like, I think Patagonia does a decent job at telling this story and focusing on, like, what do they stand for and what do they do. Like, that's a great example of it. Or Apple is another great example of, like, how they promote their product. But the actual transaction, well, it happens in the store, or you're sure you can order online on Apple.com. But it's truly where I commit to their product. That's what happens on brand.com. So it's storytelling.
Yeah, you're moving into omni-channel and physical spaces, which is where you've done just wild, wild stuff. I mean, 75% of all retail transactions are still done out of retail. And, there's debates, how much that's going to move in the coming years and this and that. It's always still going to be it's always going to be more than 50%, right? You're not going to have more than 50% go digital. It's just not possible. The infrastructure, it's just, you have tens of thousands of points of distribution. They're not going anywhere. You know what? There's more Walmart stores than there ever have been. There's more Target stores, et cetera, et cetera. But talk a little bit about, and this is coming from me, the digital guy, your sort of thoughts on data integration in creating true seamless omni-channel opportunities with some challenges and opportunities. Because obviously it's not all just, you wave a wand over it and the stuff happens.
No, exactly. I'm on LinkedIn, which I kind of regret sometimes because I hate LinkedIn because it turned into self-promoting site that we talk about how our career have moved forward, or how successful we are at something, or even some personal stuff. I feel like it really lost its purpose. So I wrote a piece on it the other week, because what I feel is, what I discovered over the years and what I feel really passionate about now is that the store's role is truly a validation of what the customer service is all about. And it is my physical space where I can have a dialogue and interaction with a customer the way they read brand.com. And if you look at like Gen Z or Alpha, they're asking for more personal interaction, physical interaction with other human beings. They look for that more than any of the previous generations. So the store actually have a really great purpose, because now the store could be a dialogue, a room for a dialogue between a customer and a representative of the brand. So, but to make that successful, you really have to be cautious of your $12 an hour part-timer that's only working there for beer money. Like, that doesn't fly anymore. So you kind of have to transition it. The other thing I think is really important with a physical store, if you think it from an omni-channel, everybody has started learning that I can never find my size in a store of the basics. I will go online to do that. So utilize your store for limited edition, special collection, capsules, whatnot that you don't know if it's going to work. Push that out, because you're already paying rent for the space. So utilize the store for something different. Because if you